But I do know that there's God's timing and then there's my timing, and I want to go based off of God's timing.
Oh, so glad you made it. I'm so glad you could come back.
Hi everyone, welcome. Woo! I thought it was a bug. Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Dominique. If you're new here, please feel free to subscribe to this channel and like this video if you liked it. All right, y'all, so today is going to be just an update and bits and pieces of my life. I feel as though my channel, there's a gap, and I need to fill that gap as to what's been going on, where I'm at physically, mentally, emotionally. I've been putting it off, and I haven't been wanting to talk about it, or it's never been the right time for me to sit down and give you all a proper life update. And I don't know if there will ever be a perfect time for me, just because I don't find myself wanting to talk about things that are going on in my life if I don't need to. Does that make sense? If I don't need to. But again, like I said, I feel like there's this gap on my channel where I was in one place and now I'm in another. And I apologize for that. And I don't want to seem as though I'm all over the place, but mentally that's kind of where I've been at. And so putting out videos has been a priority of mine, but just mentally I couldn't get myself to do it because there's so much has changed and I didn't know where to start. Yeah, I have some notes because I don't want my thoughts to be all over the place, but this is going to be a life update, and I just want to share where I've been at, not only for you as a viewer, but also for myself. When I look back on my videos, I want to be able to know where I was in life. Before I get started, let me just chat with you all what I have on, and if you're interested in any of these pieces, I will leave them linked down below for your convenience. But yeah, this white top is from the men's section from H&M. I love these tops where it doesn't have a collar, so if you're a guy, get one of these shirts. I like them, if you care about my opinion. But this is from the men's section from H&M. This scarf is also from H&M as well. And then I have these beautiful flower earrings from Zara. I will leave a close-up for you all. But these are gorgeous. I adore them. I got them from Zara, like I said. And yeah, this watch, I have my Movado watch on. I love this piece. I wear this watch on special occasions because it just makes a look a bit more elevated and put together without doing too much. And it's just a simple black leather band with gold trimming. Oh, love this. And there's some sentimental values behind this watch. It's going to be like our family heirloom, I feel. Yeah, let's go ahead and get started with my life update. Okay, so the elephant in the room is I moved, okay? I moved from Atlanta to Palm Beach, but that was never supposed to be the case. I was supposed to move from one apartment to another, but that process in and of itself drained me so much that my mental health went down the drain. I was not well, okay? I was not well. Moving from what I would consider my dream apartment in Atlanta to another apartment that just caused me so many issues, even on the first day, it wasn't good for me. And so the turnaround time of me having to move out of that new apartment to Palm Beach was so quick. It was so imperative for me to move because my mental health wasn't well. And I'd never felt like that before in my life. Like I have moments of sadness, you know what I mean? Like you could be sad and things are going on, but I've never considered myself to be someone who was depressed, and I don't ever use that word lightly, but that time I was depressed. And I knew I was because one of the things that happened to me that has never happened to me before, I remember feeling so down in that space that I could not even get myself up off the couch for hours, staring into blankness, y'all. I didn't even have my TV up. I didn't even have my furniture placed correctly. My bedroom wasn't even put together. Like my bed frame, my mattress, my bed wasn't even made. My bed frame in and of itself was still taken apart. I hadn't even put it back together. I couldn't even do that for myself because I was so mentally exhausted from things that were happening in my life at the time. And then also the environment that I was in, it just wasn't good. It was not good for me. I didn't even have a chance to say, oh, I moved here, or this is my new space. Because again, the plan was never for me to move from Atlanta to Palm Beach. That was never the case. I enjoyed my time living in Atlanta. I loved the sense of urgency that I got for creating content and being consistent. And Atlanta just gave me that drive. But I had to go and be around family and people who cared about me, because I was very, very much so alone, depressed, and overall sad. I think I was moving to Palm Beach to live here forever. No, and that's still not the case. I 100% have plans on moving back to Atlanta, but the timing has to be right. And things just need to be in place in order for me to make that move back to Atlanta, because of the way that I left. I don't ever want to be in that predicament or that situation ever again. So I don't want to rush my timing back to Atlanta. Just a little backstory. I moved from Palm Beach when I was 17 to go to the University of South Florida, which is in Tampa, Florida. That's about 4 hours away from Palm Beach. So ever since I was 17 up until I was about 25, 26, I lived in Tampa. So I was very acclimated with the area, even more than I was with Palm Beach, because when I was here, I was a child, you know, elementary school, middle school, high school. I wasn't able to really explore and do things like an adult, where I was able to do in Tampa. So I knew Tampa kind of like the back of my hand a little bit more than I did with Palm Beach. And so I spent almost 10 years in Tampa by myself, away from family. And granted, they would come and visit me and things like that, but ultimately I was on my own. And then I moved to Atlanta and I was by myself again and living on my own and still continuing on that path of independence with being an adult. And so moving back to Palm Beach, there were times where I was sad again. Love being around family and having that sense of community again with my family. But there's nothing that compares to having that sense of independence and having your own space and your own apartment and your own routine, you know? And I miss that. And I don't have that necessarily at the moment, but I 1000%, I know for a fact I'm going to get back to it. Again, it just needs to be at the right time. And I know that I'll know when the right time is going to be, because all of my stuff is still in Atlanta, y'all. Like, I have all of my furniture, my everything, my pots, my pans, my utensils, all of that is still in Atlanta. It's still in storage. My clothes, my shoes, my bags, they're still in Atlanta. So I still have plans to move back to Atlanta. It's just now that I've been living in Palm Beach with family, recently I've been thinking about, wow, when I go back, I am going to be alone again. And that kind of scares me. It makes me a little nervous. But I have to remind myself, like, girl, you are grown. You need to go. And you'll be fine being on your own again, because you'll find your footing again. I did it before and I'll do it again. And I want to say I'm in Palm Beach temporarily, but I'm also not rushing the process. I want to take my time to know that when I move back to Atlanta, it'll be the right time. And not to say that it wasn't the right time when I moved there 2 years ago in 2020. It was the perfect time. I'm saying I don't want to rush moving back to Atlanta, because the space that I'm in right now, there's a reason. I know that God has a reason as to why I'm here. I don't know why yet. I don't see the reason why I moved just yet. But I do know that there's God's timing and then there's my timing, and I want to go based off of God's timing. So I've come to be acclimated with living in Palm Beach, but I'm still uncomfortable because I still want my own space again. So, I'm just trying to make do with the things that I do have in Palm Beach, like my clothes and my shoes, and, putting out content and finding a comfortable space in my mom's home to film and shoot videos and just be consistent again on social media, which I think I'm doing a decent job at. All right, moving outside of that. So in a nutshell, I moved from Atlanta to Palm Beach abruptly. I still have a lot of my things in Atlanta, and I do plan on moving back to Atlanta and finding myself in my own space again. Work is work. I don't have an update on work. I'm not sure if you all know what I do for work. I don't necessarily speak about it often, but I do work in tech. And I'll just say that I work in tech. I don't ever talk about this on my channel, y'all. I never talk about dating. I don't know. I don't talk about dating. It's not something that I discuss. But yeah, I'm not dating. I'm not dating. I'm not in a relationship. And to be fair with you all, I don't think I would find my husband in Atlanta. I feel like I have more chances finding a husband here in Palm Beach than I would have in Atlanta. Okay, social media. I realized this about myself, that I don't talk as much on social media as I used to. On my Instagram stories, I used to chat. I used to be very active, and active meaning talking a lot and putting up stories where I'm just telling random stories and different things that may have happened throughout the day. And I realized as my account grew, I reeled back on that. I stopped talking as much on my stories. And there's a few reasons behind it, and I'll just share a couple. One, I realized as my audience got bigger, I shied away. I didn't want to speak because I felt as though my community wasn't as intimate as it once was. And there are so many more people who are watching me now that I don't want to share as much, you know? As the audience got bigger, I tended to reel back more, and I didn't want to share as much of myself because it wasn't as intimate anymore. It wasn't as intimate anymore. That's one reason. And then two, I remember sharing something on my stories about Rihanna, and somebody reposting to their stories like, oh, you know, Dominique complained about this, and I have my complaints. And I'm like, complain? I just had an opinion. And I realized that from that moment, I feel, and I don't think she was being shady. I don't think that person was being shady. I think for me, it was just like, why are you putting me, now how did I get thrown into this conversation? You know, like, and why do you consider me complaining about something? Why do you consider that being a complaint versus it just being a simple opinion? And from that day forward, I realized that if my opinion doesn't pertain to fashion, beauty, lifestyle, then I don't want to share it. I don't want to share it. And I know that, you know, it's my platform and I should be able to say what I want to say. But at the end of the day, I do realize that my platform is big. It's a bigger platform than what it was a year ago or 2 years ago. And so I need to be careful about the things that I say. And that also ties into the fact that I don't always have an opinion on things, y'all. I just don't always have an opinion. I don't care enough. Like, there be hot topics and I don't care enough. It be topics about celebrities. Like, these celebrities don't even know who I am. Why do I care about putting out an opinion in the world? I'm not a channel that focuses on commentary. So I don't care. I don't care what's going on with Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade. I don't care about what's going on with the whole Tarte brand trip and Bria. I don't care about that. I don't have an opinion that I want to share on social media. You know, when I have intimate, very intense conversations with Kaina, we get into very deep conversations, and I appreciate those topics that we do share with one another in our opinions. But it's never enough for me to want to go on social media and be like, hey, y'all, I just feel like, girl, I don't care. So yeah, I don't always have an opinion, and I don't always care to share my opinion on certain hot topics. So I don't say much. And that also brings me into wanting to be intentional with my words and being intentional about the things that I do. And I want to be intentional about being intentional and making it a priority of mine, because I'm getting older and I'm getting wiser, and I know that I'm not going to spend the rest of my life alone. And I don't necessarily mean finding an intimate partner, but I know that one day I'm going to have children and I'm going to have a family, and I want to start being intentional about the things that I do, so that way it becomes a habit, and so that way it trickles down to my children and my intimate relationship, and even my platonic relationships with friends and people that I'm going to meet in the future. And I want to be intentional more and put out content that reflects who I am at the moment. I can't always say that I'm gonna look back on these videos and agree with the things that I said or did or wore, but it is a reflection of who I am today. So yeah, I think that's it, y'all. I don't really have much else to say. There's not much else that I can add on to this conversation. Drop some comments below, chat with me, let me know what's going on with your life. I want to hear from y'all. Again, I don't want y'all to feel as though I neglected you or I just went away and wasn't ever going to say anything. I do have a lot to say. When the timing is right, I will piece it together and it will flow intentionally. I hope you all are healthy and happy. I hope you all enjoyed this video. I don't know if this is a proper life update, but it is something that you can hold on to and understand, okay, this is where Dominique is at right now, you know? This is where she's at in life. Thank you all so much for tuning in and watching and subscribing and being present. I appreciate it so much. If you haven't already, feel free to subscribe to this channel. Like this video only if you liked it. And leave me a comment, okay? So we can talk, we can chat. And I will see you all in my next video. Bye, y'all.